When I graduated college back in 2018, my starting salary was $65,000 a year plus a 7% bonus. Today I make roughly $350,000 a year, and that's ever growing. What's up guys, it's Avery here. If you're new to the channel, typically I talk about personal finance as well as investing in real estate, and I also like to keep you entertained. So if you're interested in learning how I increased my income and how you can too, make sure you stick through the end of the video. The way I'm going to structure this is I'm going to talk about one source of income and how that's increased over the last 4 years, and then talk about the next source of income and how that's increased, because that makes the most sense in my head, and I don't care if you don't like that because you don't have to watch the video. But if you are going to watch the video, I would really appreciate it if you could go ahead and hit that like button. Over the last 4 years, I have held 4 different positions at a company, and that is one of my major sources of income. And like I said, when I graduated from college, I was initially making $65,000 a year plus a 7% bonus. And that first job was as a data scientist / data analyst. And I entered the workforce in a rotational program. So although it was one single position, I ended up rotating every 10 months for the first 30 months of my career. But I actually ended up finishing that rotational program 10 months early and then got a job within the same company. So as that went, I started at $65,000, ended up at $68,000 after the first rotation was done. And then instead of doing the third rotation, I hopped into a new job within the company, which saw a roughly 30% raise. When I finished that rotational program within the company and going from that $68,000 a year salary to an $85,000 a year salary plus a 10% bonus, because I went from a certain level at the company to a higher level at the company, so they increased my bonus structure as well. My job that I was doing after I finished my rotational program was pretty similar to the rotational program, where I did a lot of data analytics as well as data science, Tableau, SQL, RStudio, as well as Python, all of those fun things and computer coding, which is why I talk a lot on YouTube or make other videos, because I don't really talk to very many people throughout the day. So this is a good break so I can actually say words rather than just staring at my computer screen. And when I started at that job, like I said, I was making $85,000 a year, and I started February of 2020. And that was right before the pandemic, and so I've been working from home pretty much ever since. And then 1 year later, we pretty much got no raises. I got a 1.65% raise, so I'm not even going to really count that. And then this past year, I then got a 5% raise. So now at that current company, I'm up to making roughly $90,500 a year plus that 10% bonus. And usually it's a little bit higher because it's based off of your own work performance as well as the company's performance. So my total compensation will be roughly $100,000. And actually, I just accepted a new job offer. For the first time, I'm going to be working at a different company that I'd currently been working at since I graduated school. So I'm going from a really large insurance company, and now I'm going to be working at a smaller startup insurance company. So I'm going to have a little bit more responsibility, as well as instead of being a data analyst, I am now going to be the director of product management, where I'll be making $120,000 a year plus a 10% bonus. So it's a pretty good bump in increase in salary from what I was making in my current job to what I'll be making in a couple of weeks when I start. So the first lesson to learn there, even though I stayed within the same company, I did switch roles a lot, and often you'll see people making a lot more money if they just switch roles. If I were to stay in my current position to go from $90,000 base to $120,000 a year base, it would probably take me 10 years to get to that point. But because I was able to move around and switch jobs, you can get there a lot faster. The next source of income would be my very first ever real estate property that I purchased back in 2019, about 8 months after I graduated college, and I did so through a house hack. And if you're interested in learning about house hacking, go ahead, click the link down below, and you can learn how to live for free, which is exactly what house hacking enables you to do. So I bought a duplex with a 3.5% down FHA loan, which is pretty low amount of money to be able to invest in real estate and buy a $500,000 asset. And while I was living there, I was able to rent out all of the extra space, so the other unit as well as the extra bedrooms. And then I no longer had any housing costs because the people living in the same building with me were paying my mortgage plus a little bit more for me. When I was living in that property for the first year, I ended up getting $300 a month over the mortgage. Now that is not net positive cash flow, but definitely a lot better than the $1,100 a month in rent that I was paying before. And after a year, I moved out and then started earning roughly $1,000 to $1,100 a month in cash flow. Fast forward to today, I just got another new tenant in, and I ended up getting $2,000 a month from them, and I get $2,880 from the people in the other place. and my mortgage is only $2,830. So I say that my cash flow is roughly $1,400 a month, but that is also a pretty conservative number in my opinion. And I also have to do an appraisal pretty soon to drop the last $90 to $100 of PMI I have, so that'll also increase the cash flow again. The next thing I did was buy another house hack a year after I moved into my first house hack, actually about 14 months after it, and it's pretty cool that you can do this multiple times. I absolutely love investing in real estate, and I talk about it often on this channel, and I pretty much just did the same thing where I moved in there, rented out the other units, as well as my girlfriend lived with me, and that covered enough so I didn't have to pay any dollars towards the mortgage. And today that property is still performing pretty well for me. Even though it's a 3-family, it does not earn me as much cash flow as the duplex, and I still have roughly $600 a month of primary mortgage insurance. But I do have a 2.75% interest rate, so if I wanted to go refinance out of the FHA loan, then I would probably go to roughly a 5.5% interest rate, even higher because rates keep going up and up, and that wouldn't account for the $600 of PMI that I pay for. So right now I'm not really in a good position to try to refinance that property, because I also probably couldn't take cash out because I have roughly 25% of equity in the property, which wouldn't be enough to do a cash out refinance for an investment property. Typically in Massachusetts, where the properties are, you need at least 30% equity in the building left when you're done with that cash out refinance. So in my opinion, you probably want at least 40% equity in the building so you can take at least 10% out when you're actually doing the cash out refinance, which it'll be a few more years before I get to that point. So today with that 3-family, it is rented out with $2,000 in the 2-bedroom, $1,800 a month in the 1-bedroom, as well as $1,550. So I don't know what those numbers are. I think it's like $5,350 every single month, and my mortgage is $3,900, so I get roughly $700 a month in cash flow from that building. So my first 2 major sources of income would be my main job, my W-2 income that is pretty standard for a lot of people. My second thing would be my real estate income, and then my third thing would be social media, which is how you're watching me here. So through social media, I make money in a couple of different ways. Some of the standard ones that you might think about because you're watching this YouTube video, there might have been an ad at the beginning, there might be one at the middle, and there might be one at the end. So I make a little bit of ad revenue every single time that you watch this video. So if you have an ad in the middle of this video, I'd really appreciate it if you watched it all the way through, because I might make an extra 0.01 cents. And I started social media back in January of 2021 right here on YouTube, and I did YouTube for roughly 9 or 10 months, and then I started on TikTok as well as Instagram a little bit more. And TikTok is where I'm making a majority of the money now, and that's mostly through sponsorship as well as brand deals and a little bit of affiliate marketing money. Since I started TikTok back in October and I started getting people reaching out to me for brand deals roughly in January of 2022, and I really did my first one in February of 2022. So it's only really been 2 months that I've been doing brand deals, and I have roughly $20,000 or $21,000 coming through the pipeline for brand deals. For example, I did one brand deal where I did one video for a company and they were paying me $3,000 for that one video, which is pretty cool. A lot of larger creators earn a lot more. I only have just under 200,000 followers, so you can maybe do some math and figure out someone who has 1 million followers, how much money they might make for a sponsored post on their page. So with that, I like to be conservative and say that I'm making roughly $7,500 a month from social media, which is pretty cool. But the thing to think about is that this is also heavily taxed income. Real estate is cool because you have depreciation as well as a lot of deductions. But when it comes to this social media business, yes, I can write off my camera. I can write off the lights that are in the background shining on my face to make me a lot prettier, but I don't have depreciation as well as I have self-employment tax. So that $7,500 amount is going to be taxed at my earned income tax rate, which is around 24%. Plus self-employment tax, which is 15%. So it is almost a 40% tax bracket just from all the money that I'm going to be making from brand deals. And I also have other sources of income, and I'm not really going to count them towards this entire thing. There's little affiliate marketing deals, as well as I earn crypto interest, dividends, and I've sold some spreadsheets online. And actually, if you're interested in using my rental property cash flow calculator, I have a video about it. I'll actually put it up here. I did it a year or so ago, so it's a little bit funky, but it goes over my spreadsheet. And if you're interested in purchasing that spreadsheet and using it so you can figure out if a deal is worth it or not, you can also go in my link in the description below and you can buy that spreadsheet and help support me as a creator. So with that, I do have other products and I'm trying to build out more digital products. I actually have a course teaching you all about how you can live for free because some people requested it. I know there's a lot of people who are against courses, but I find when the people who are actually doing that thing that they're teaching, then it's probably a worthwhile time. And with that course, I also have a mentorship program where you get a number of months along with that course, so you can ask me questions the entire time. And I have been doing some one-on-one coaching, so there are a couple of other income streams that I have coming along here that hopefully will build up over the next year or so. And the other big real estate purchase that I had made, actually two, if you hadn't been following along, I currently live in a single family property that I've been doing a live-in flip on. It's roughly amassed $100,000 or $150,000, probably closer to $150,000 in equity since I purchased it, which is pretty cool. And eventually I'll take out a home equity line of credit in this property. And I'm actually thinking a little bit back and forth. I do keep saying I want to finish out my detached garage that I have here and then Airbnb it out. But I might just try to buy a straight up investment property so I'm not dealing with that stuff on my property. Eventually it might happen, we'll see what happens. And then the other thing that I've done is about a week ago, I purchased my first ever Airbnb property, or it will be a property that I do Airbnb. I'm in the middle of some renovations on that property, and then once it's all set up, I will be staying there sometimes because that's how the loan works. And then the times when I'm not staying there, I will rent it out on those short-term platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com. So overall, if you add up those ones that I was talking about and not all those other little things, I get $7,500 a month from social media, and then it was around $10,300 a month from rental income, and I also get the $11,000 a month, I think now, for my new job. So that equated to the $350,000 a year. I don't know if that math all checks out. I did it before and I trust myself, and it also doesn't really matter because there's a bunch of other little things that'll amount up for it. But like I said, there are expenses, there are taxes. That is just purely my gross income. And every single year I try to increase my gross income. But something that I always talk to people about wanting to focus on is making sure you increase your primary sources of income and not just get all diluted and diversify yourself right away. The reason I say that is because a lot of millionaires have an average of 7 income streams. It might be something that you've heard, but that's because people who have a lot of money could potentially just put $100,000 or $200,000 into a dividend heavy portfolio, make a lot of money off of that, and then they're still earning hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially every single month, or maybe $30,000 every single month from another thing, and they can put that money to use elsewhere. When you're starting out, you're going to be like me. Maybe you're earning an average salary for the area that you're in, and you have to take a pretty big risk with a little bit of money in order to start earning a lot more and more, which is exactly what I did with my house hacking. I also took a lot of time in my job to make sure that I was good at it so that I could find other jobs and make more money that way. I'm a big fan of income transparency, so if you want to let me know what you make and what you do and what other sources of income that you're trying to increase in your life right now, go ahead, leave it in the comments below, because that's what we're trying to do. Let everyone know what you're working on to see if it's worth their time to work on, which is often why I talk about this stuff, because I want to show you that the stuff that I'm doing would be very useful for you out there, which is exactly why I talk about it. So if you guys like this video, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell so you don't miss out on any tips for investing in real estate or other personal finance related topics. And if you like me here, don't forget to check me out on TikTok as well as Instagram, where I make a lot of videos in short form. So thanks again for watching, and more wealth is coming your way.